Hey guys, welcome back to Words Are Tough. My name is Jose Rodriguez and I'm here with my co-host
David Diocando.
And we have episode 26 coming at you after a nice little, I should say a longer break. We did our last episode, which was the holiday episode.
Yeah, which was literally in the holidays.
Yeah, and it was supposed to be like a wrap up of the year before we kicked into gear the next year.
Yeah.
And a lot happened. I went through
good and bad. Yeah.
Yeah. I actually, in the last episode, I had already gone through a COVID scare with my significant other, and then right at the holidays, I got COVID myself.
Fun.
Yeah, that took me out. Pretty much, my New Year's started in February, like all my resolutions and stuff like that.
So this past week.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just kicking into high gear for the year. But yeah, how was how have you been over the break?
Honestly, it was the New Year's was pretty quiet, which I really like. I don't like doing things, as in like kind of like a Ron Swanson, that character from Parks and Rec, where he's like he likes to do nothing and he'll help somebody else do nothing, so they can do nothing kind of thing. Okay. I don't know. He prefers to do nothing, and for me, I'm more like less is more in all aspects of my life. Just except for money, the more the merrier. But for me, it was very quiet. New Year's, spent it at did I do it at home? Yeah, at home with my mom and my brother, and we did the whole grape thing. And it seems like a long time from now, but it's only been like a month away. But even January just feels really long. It just felt like a really, really long month. And February, I blinked and I'm like, oh wait, it's already like the second week of February, and sadly February is the shortest month of the year. So
yeah, it's crazy. I was gonna have like the holidays off, meaning New Year's, and I had like my 5-day weekend that I planned out, and that night I come home and I'm like, yes, 5-day weekend starting. I sit down on my couch, burning up. I feel, so it's like I spent, New Year's came and went, and I was in quarantine, secluded in my basement. And, yeah, I mean, it was, I've got a lot of rest, I felt really sick, though, so it was kind of,
it wasn't like, oh, you got little sniffles, like you legit.
No, yeah, I got the fever.
It kind of hit you kind of hard.
It was like the worst fever I ever got. But it didn't. Okay. Yeah, it didn't get like flu. I mean, I'm sorry, not fever. But yeah, the fever was pretty high. The worst flu I ever got. But it did get kind of serious. But I didn't have to go to the hospital or anything.
Thank God.
Yeah, thank God.
Yeah.
And but I remember during that time you were sending me photos. You were out in like 0-degree weathers.
Oh yeah. So hunting was fun. Well, I can't call it hunting if I don't really kill anything. But yeah, I'm into hunting, bow hunting specifically, which just starts, I mentioned this before, but it starts in September, ends like in like February, mid-February, New Jersey. And I just it's called ground blind hunting, where you just literally have a tent that's all camoed up, or some sort of like, I guess you can say protection of sorts to kind of like hide you from the deer. And then there's also tree stands where you literally have this little like, portable stand that you can put up on a tree. But yeah, sadly deers are more active when it's cold, so if it's really low, it's best to go out and try to get a deer. For me, it's just literally for food. People have asked me like, oh, why do you want to hunt deer for, like, a trophy? Like, I really don't care. But like, if with antlers, no antlers, if it has meat and puts meat in the fridge or freezer, then I'm happy. But nice. It's not fun, though. It's not. As in, it's easy to be around 30-degree weather, even 25-degree, if you're kind of walking around and doing something, or you're in and out, like in a house, moving to go to a car and traveling about. But if you're just sitting still with no real protection from the wind, 20 degrees, 15 degrees feels like death. Like after an hour, it's like you really feel it.
Yeah, I feel like just thinking about it, it's almost like fishing, but like on juice, as people like to say, like because fish.
So our first sponsor is Nbox. Give your home-based business its own mailroom. View your open and scan mail from an encrypted app. Have it forwarded, held for pickup, or shredded and recycled. We'll even include a commercial business address to protect your privacy. Visit www.nboxdelivers.com to see more.
And for our next sponsor, we have Premier Rank Marketing. They can help you out if you have a business, whether it's selling stuff online or you have a brick and mortar location, restaurants, gyms. The company's helped so many people during the pandemic grow their online presence. So if you need any help from social media to Facebook targeting campaigns, Google, LinkedIn, and all the other, even TikTok, they do TikTok ads. Just reach out to Premier Rank Marketing and let them know that WordsrTough sent you, and they'll hook you up with a huge discount. Our third sponsor here, we have Worldwide Solutions, located in Clifton. They do taxes, travel, and insurance. Any type of business needs you have. They can even, give you a good direction to go if you need some payroll services, things like that. And definitely check them out. Their info's right below. And our fourth sponsor is Rick's Barbershop in Garfield, New Jersey. If you have a important date coming up, you're going to a wedding, things like that, you're going to be photographed, definitely check them out. They're the most precise barbers in the area, and they'll definitely hook you up if you tell them WordsrTough sent you. Jose and David just mention those names, and they'll be like, no problem, right away. We'll hook you up. We just want to say thank you to all of our sponsors, and back to the show. Fishing is like, it's really calm and you're hanging out, but this is like you're calm and you're still. And
You can move a little bit as long as you're not moving your feet, because your feet can like create like rustling or whatever. But you can I look at my phone or whatever because I'm kind of protected or covered. But yeah, you can't do much moving. Only enough to like put your binoculars up, or you have a little deer call thing. It literally looks like a tube that you blow into and makes you sound like a deer. Yeah. And then you need enough movement just to get your bow up and point and pull back and let go. But my wife's relatives let me hunt on their property, and they hand to their heart, they're like, yeah, there's deer here all the time. I believe them, but when I'm there, they don't show up. So I think I'm doing something wrong. I don't think I'm. So when I say, oh, I'm going out hunting, I really feel like I can't say that until I actually get a deer.
That'd be funny if you were walking out there, they're like, damn, we really got him good.
Yeah. And I have food out, yeah, which I'll try to figure it out. But it is, I told my wife today, in the past, I used to make fun of or find if you ever see hunting videos and you see the guy, usually 9 times out of 10, it's usually a white guy. They get a deer and they're hooping and hollering and they're excited. Yeah. At first I thought that's so silly. Why are you so excited? It's not that hard. It is so hard to kill something that doesn't want to be killed. It's really difficult. Yeah. But yeah, so I can kind of empathize now. Oh yeah, being out for hours and hours, from sun up to sundown or whatever. It's I only actually did it one time. Either I'll go up from in the morning till around 1 or 2, or from 1 or 2 to around sundown. Only one time I actually did the whole day. Yeah, it's you really get into your thoughts when you're kind of just sitting there doing nothing.
Yeah, and you don't do any chewing tobacco or anything like that, right?
No,
it's really popular for people that sit out all that long.
Yeah, I prefer not to get throat and gum cancer.
It's true.
At the end of the day, the 2 main causes of death these days is heart or cancer. You're gonna get one or the other. Yeah, pick your poison, I suppose. But I'm not against chewing tobacco. I just don't like it. I've tried it one time. I'm like, nah, no.
And let me take a guess. Was it back in your wrestling days?
Yeah, it was. It was right? Yeah. I can't say first cigarette, but I had one puff of a cigarette. It literally felt like fiberglass in my throat. That's what it felt like.
It was,
and I'm Newport? Nope. No, thank you. Just gave it back to the person. I'm good. And then the same guy, weeks later, said he was chewing tobacco. I was like, try it. I tried it. I just nope, I'm good. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's not my thing.
It's to be honest with you, it's one thing like if you get brought into it by a pro, they'll really teach you the ways, the ways of the. There's dip and then there's chewing tobacco.
Like
Not that I want to make a
like
whole
a pro, like
of it.
they have a hole in their lip. Or
No,
something?
it just mean like because there's someone. If you give it to someone, they'll get it all in their mouth and in their teeth, and they're just gonna puke. You know what I mean? It's like it's a mess. But similar. I used to do that, and I used to smoke too. But I quit maybe. It's months now. The last time I had a cigarette,
good.
but yeah, it was like maybe 2 years. I was having like one a week, something like that, or like if I went out, having a night
casual,
out. Yeah, but
like a social smoker.
Then I started vaping, which I used to vape when we first started this podcast.
Yeah, you did during once in a while,
and I quit that.
Why is that?
Cold turkey. I just, what, something doesn't convince me. Like I know it's healthier than regular smoking.
Healthier,
they say,
but
for some reason I feel like. Since I was smoking more often, it was having an effect on my lungs where like I didn't feel the need to be as active as I was being because my lungs maybe were taking a
toll.
Yeah, and I just felt like I'm like, why do I feel like more lethargic now, And and I just stopped, and then since then technically you could say it did help me quit because now I don't smoke anything.
Yeah. I mean as I know I said I wasn't going to talk about work, but I have witnessed
9 minutes.
Two students. Yeah. I was like, I'm not going to talk about work. I did witness 2 students at my job. I'm a teacher, by the way. In case you're listening. Actually, by the way, subscribe if it's the first time you're listening. I forgot that. And get married in the comments. I don't know. Find your loved one. It's Valentine's Day soon. But yeah, I did witness 2 kids vaping. And I just kind of looked at them. I just said, "You good?" They're like, "Yeah, we're good." I'm like, "Okay," and I just walked right out. Like,
yeah,
it's like, and I'm not that kind of teacher. I'm like, "Give me those." I just gave him that look. Like,
yeah,
come on,
It's rough because I remember when we were youngsters. Even back in middle school, there'd be like those kids that already started smoking cigarettes, and they'd go in the bathroom and smoke.
Yeah, smoking cigarettes. I think smoking cigarettes kind of is dying. Like, I think our generation killed smoking cigarettes.
Which is great.
Yeah, not completely, but I think most of people I know, like you included, are kind of like hitting their 30s, and they're like, yeah, I don't think this is going to go well if I can continue this habit of mine. But yeah, it's so rare now to see anyone under the age of like 35 smoking, I guess you could say continuously, like all the time. I'll see a person like smoke a cigar here and there, but like, I mean, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm completely wrong. Maybe I'm just another dumb millennial or whatever, but I just don't see that much smoking as often.
Yeah.
I can't actually think about it. Maybe one of my colleagues smokes on a regular basis.
Yeah.
That I know of.
Yeah. Just my coworker, I have a new coworker. She smokes. She's also, trying to quit, but definitely is a good thing to not be taking that smoke.
I'm not trying to quit drinking mead. I'm still doing that.
Oh, yeah? Nice.
I haven't made any, but I'll have and honestly, this is the most amount of drinking I've ever done in my life. I drink 1 cup a week, and for me, that's a lot. I used to not drink at all just because of I never liked anything.
Yeah.
And mead is the one thing, mead is honey wine. It's wine made from honey. Is the only thing I actually kind of tolerate, and like 1 or 2 cups, like max 2 cups a week. I'll just sip it and that's good. But I know my wife's dad, he'll have a glass of wine every night or every dinner, which is good, I suppose. I don't know. To me, too much wine is not the best. It feels weird in my stomach.
Yeah, with wine, it's a very delicate balance, but there's a lot of benefits with the one. I mean, we're not medical experts here, but we got to throw that in there. But from what I've heard, 1 glass of wine is great for you.
What is it?
Antioxidants.
The antioxidants and all that. But I hear
circulation.
I heard the study was sort of sus. Like they got the one thing in wine or grapes that's good for you, which I forget what it is, and they just kind of like OD'd mice with it, like just that one thing.
Oh.
And like really gave them a whole bunch.
Yeah, the one that I checked out was it was like these towns in Italy where everyone drinks wine.
There's that, yeah, that
and
study
they, like,
too.
Live to like 98.
That was a really long study. It took them like, I don't know, like 40, 50 years to like conclude.
Yeah,
that.
and I'm sure it also has a lot to do with their healthy, like natural food lifestyle there.
Yeah,
but you know, it still looks good for wine that they're living that long.
Yeah, I mean, and also, sadly, United States, we're literally, the country was sort of built within the context of, you know, vehicles. You know, if you've been to Europe, right? Oh
no,
like everything is like for the most part walking distance. You can get around. I remember I went to Italy and France and even Germany. Like, you can get around walking or even bike riding a good amount in your sort of neighborhood, village, even town. Here, I think the nearest thing that you can walk to is maybe like a burger joint that way, and Rick's Barbershop that way.
Yeah,
and that's pretty much it. I mean, but yeah, there's not that there's not much, but we're kind of accustomed to just everything's driving.
Yeah. Yep.
You know,
definitely.
so with that's, I mean, which is just, you're just sitting and you're just flexing your foot. You know, you're just getting a good calf workout for. Yeah. Actually, that is true. My right calf is significantly bigger than my left calf.
Oh yeah,
because I do drive a whole lot. But yeah, I mean, we haven't really talked about much. But the one thing, or we, by the way, just to be transparent, whatever. We don't actually talk a whole lot when we're not podcasting. We might text back and forth here and there. One is because we have our own individual lives. And two, I feel like if we talk too much, there's not much to talk about.
It's true.
So I'll just like mention a few things. But the one thing I've noticed in January and February specifically is gym etiquette. It just goes to shit. It just goes down the drain for the first 2 months. I mean, I don't know what it is. I guess it's just all the new people. Show up and then they don't really know like the gym. I don't say saying rules, but gym etiquette, just gym behavior. There's one dude where most of the time when I'm at the gym, I don't really pay attention to people. I might pay attention to some people based on like if I want to use a machine or apparatus or whatever. I kind of like look over, kind of say, okay, that guy's in like their third set or second. You can kind of figure out, okay, how much do they have just based on their workouts. Yeah. Most people do the regular I call it bro splits. It's just 3 sets of 10 and then you move on. Mm-hmm. 9 times out of 10 is usually that. This guy was doing like bicep curls, then jump into the bench press, and then jump into the dip machine, and then he was just doing he had like a 4 or 5 workout, like super set, quadruple. I don't know what's 5. What's 5?
Hexagon.
I don't know. Hex set. Whatever. And I'm thinking, this guy's been doing this for like a few rounds, and I need to use one of the apparatuses. And then I kind of like, all right. This guy kind of walked away. We got a drink, and he came back. He gave me like this nastiest look, and I'm like, oh, you're still working on this? He's like, dude, like, and he kind of just put his hands up and walked away. Mind you, I always have my headphones in blasting. I have like music blasting all the time. And the rest of the rest of the 20, 30 minutes I was there, he just kept staring at me. And I'm like, I think this is the first time this guy's been to the gym. Yeah. Because I don't think he understands, like, you can't just hog up the whole gym. Yeah. It's Planet Fitness.
The normal thing is if you're like doing a set on a machine, then you're good. You know, somebody will wait for you to get off. But if you're supersetting and jumping from thing to thing, you should be totally fine with someone just jumping in between your sets. Yeah. You know, like that's.
And a lot of times it's like, hey, do you want to work in? And it's like, yeah, sure, go ahead, work in.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's not, almost threw up in my mouth. That's not a problem. But the guy just kind of like rolled his eyes and just like kind of had a hissy fit, kind of like Cartman or something, like from South Park. And the second thing, and I don't know if the guy was hitting on me. I wasn't really sure. But this one dude was just kind of walking around naked in the locker room.
Oh,
and
like full frontal,
full Euro.
Oh, okay.
Full Euro locker room behavior. Like, and it was just bizarre because he wasn't changing. He was just like on his phone and sat down bare butt, and then all he had was his like slippers on, and had like a towel around his shoulders, and I'm just changing, like, you know, just grab my stuff, and I sat down to like pick something up, and then when I look up, his butt is just there, and he's just on his phone, and I just kind of just looked up like, oh, this is kind of bizarre. And it's kind of bizarre because it's like a weird bench, and you can't really. If I stood up, I'll be literally standing up into. Yeah. I'll be like front to back.
Gotcha.
And I kind of just nudged myself over to the right, and I kind of got up and out. But when I entered the locker room, he was just there. And then when I was in there for like 5 minutes to kind of grab my stuff, and he was still there, just still butt naked. I'm like, what's that guy's deal? Was he trying to? What did he trying to do?
Yeah, he's definitely, I think, testing the waters. Whoever came in there, but yeah, that's like a place where it's like ripe with activity like that. I remember I used to work at a gym when I was like,
is it like Gold's Gym?
23. No, it was a New York sports club, and it was in Ramsey.
Okay.
Yeah, so like, you know, I used to work there, so I'd work out before I worked or after I worked. You know, I'd just work out, and they had, you know, at that time there weren't like 24-hour fitnesses everywhere with like saunas and stuff.
Okay.
So that place was a little more upscale, and they had the sauna steam room thing. So specifically in the sauna, it's like a no pun intended. I was gonna say hotbed.
It's a hotbed.
It's a hotbed for like activity like that.
It's a hot mess of activity.
You got like a bunch of these like older guys who I guess never, like, you know, worked out their experimentalness, you know, just kind of, you know, trying to find it. They got a family at home, you know. And then you just got the random people who just like that, and you know, and then they test you, you know, they test the waters.
I mean,
and sometimes they're successful. Good for them when they are, but
yeah, I mean, I'll lie if I say I wasn't hit on a daily when I was much younger. When I'm clean shaven and 15 years younger, a lot of guys really liked how I looked. So I got hit on a lot, like in college, like so much. Actually, the side story. I went to school in Newark and in college in Newark, and then I was waiting up for a bus, and at that time, my friend, his name is Floyd. I don't think he listens to this, so it doesn't matter. He's like, I was texting him, and this is like back when texting like really mattered. Like you kind of like, you didn't text too much when you texted for like legit reasons. I was supposed to meet him like the next day, like to hang out or something, or to like catch up. And this car approached me, and I think it's him because the guy looked kind of familiar. And he's like, "Yo, what's up?" And I look, and I step off the curb, and I look down. I'm like, "Oh, that's not Floyd." And he's like, "Hey, what's your name?" I'm like, Steve. He's like, "For real, what's your name?" I'm like, "It's Steven." Like, just like, he's like, "What's your last name?" Daniel. I was really taken aback, and then he's like, "Oh, where are you going?" I'm like, "Home." Like, where's home? Like, not here. And he's like, "All right, well, do you need help?" I'm like, "You look lost." Like, "No, I don't. I'm waiting for the bus." And I was just
like as not lost as you can be.
Yeah, I'm just route. Being in front of a school bus bus stop does not equate lost. But the guy was really persistent, and I'm like, "Dude, I'm good. You can leave me alone now. But thanks, appreciate it." I don't know. He's like, "Oh, I just think you're kind of cute." I'm like, "That's nice." Like.
He did his move right there. Yeah.
No, yeah, he was, and at that moment, I can empathize with the female friends that I have, my women in life that I have, about like men being very persistent and not kind of getting the hints. I'm like, oh, that's how that feels. Yeah, that's how that feels. Okay, that doesn't feel too good. It was a very. I'm in a way, I'm happy I'm growing older. Like those things don't happen as much.
Yeah, there's something to be said about aggressiveness in general. Like, I don't know, like I have ran into some situations where it's like a female who is too aggressive, and it kind of takes you back. Like, and I'm just like almost like don't like it because of that. You know what I mean? Like
Okay.
and but sometimes you want different things, different times. And like in relationships, you kind of like pull and tug. You know what I mean? Like like you kind of try different stuff. But I'm saying like you meet that night and someone is like too pushy. And
Yeah,
it's
like the first impressions. And
yeah. So sometimes I get.
I mean, me being married and you're engaged, I'm very happy. I no longer. I think I mentioned this a bunch of times. I'm so happy I don't have to do that ever again. Because I'm confident it'll work out. But if this doesn't work out, I already told her like if it doesn't work out, I'm not gonna even try anymore. I'm not gonna get remarried and nothing. But the whole courting or meeting someone new and getting to know them, that's not fun. I don't. And those guys that want to go on dates with like another person every other night, I don't get it. How's that fun?
Yeah.
That's not. I mean, for me, it's not fun at all. It's actually tiresome. And you're broke, or at least I was broke. I don't have that kind of money to like wine and dine someone every other night.
Yeah, that's true. Yep.
Like that's just really expensive. Unless you're going to like cheap places like I don't know Applebee's or whatever. Then
yeah,
all right.
Those boneless wings.
I mean, you could barely call those things wings.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, I used to call it apple sneeze when I was in college. Because there was one time a friend of mine like ordered a steak and there was just like a questionable sauce on it.
Yeah.
And it looked like someone like legit sneezed on it. And then we called it apple sneeze ever since. It looked like mucus. It looked like booger mucus. It looked really nasty.
Definitely not good.
But I'm going to do a callback. Remember when we talked about for an unnecessary long amount of time of Charlemagne the God, and how we would never call him Charlemagne the God.
Yeah.
One guy that I refuse to call this individual judge because he's not is Steve Harvey. He has like a show that he's a supposed judge. Like Judge Steve Harvey.
Yeah.
I didn't know about this.
It was like new, right? Like recent.
I hate that. I hate it. I really don't, because you're not a judge. He isn't.
Yeah. Or
he has no law and no law degree of any sort. It just seems very, I don't know. I don't want to say irresponsible, but like, I'm not a fan of, what do you call it when dudes, usually guys, they'll wear like military uniforms.
False honor or something like
false
that?
False honor,
right?
False valor, or stolen valor. Stolen valor. I won't say it's equivalent to that, but I kind of get the same feeling. Like you can't just wear a robe and say, yeah, I'm a judge, or wear like a graduation hat and say, yeah, I'm a doctor. Like you can't just say that. I mean, you could, but I kind of lose respect for you. But I don't know how Steve Harvey became this. I mean, is Judge Judy even a real judge? I think she is, right?
I'm not sure. I was just thinking that actually when you said that, but I think she is.
I think yeah. I mean, I remember growing up, she had that one famous phrase, or that one commercial where she asked some kid, it's like, "Do you have a job?" He's like, "No." She's like, "Get one." And but it was such like a grandma thing to say.
Yeah. Yep.
Like, just get a job. And but I remember it was a reoccurring commercial, at least in New Jersey, where she would just that clip would just rerun, and that's the only thing I remember about Judge Judy. She just asked someone, "You have a job? Get one." And then Judge Judy I don't know. The whole Judge Judy weekends or weekdays, 3 p.m., whatever, East Central, whatever.
Setting people straight.
Yeah.
9 p.m.
But yeah, telling someone just to get a job now is like, it's not that easy, actually. It's kind of tough to get a job. At least a job that keeps you afloat. I mean, you could get a job anywhere, but one that can actually pay the bills is a whole nother story, Yeah,
with that inflation going around.
Yeah, wait, inflation goes up, stocks go down kind of thing? How does that work?
Well, I mean, recently, it had a big effect on the stock market, but this has been a good month, actually, for the stock market, February.
Really?
Yeah, February.
To buy or to sell?
anytime you buy right now, everything's like really low because it's been crashing for so long. So if you have the money to invest, right now is the time. You know, everything's pretty much on discount. You can't really right now. You can't really miss unless you really just don't pay attention. You know, and like look at what you're investing in. But yeah, this month has been great. Crypto's back up. Bitcoin hit 40, almost 46 the other day.
46,000.
Yeah, 46. Yeah, and that's like, you know, its height. I think it hit like 59 or it broke 60, but it did go down almost to like 30, I think. So, you know, it's climbing.
I feel like
back
if
up.
you have like 10 Bitcoin, just sell half of them. Just get your money and go. Like, I don't know, or like why keep
the forecast is looking like it's gonna eventually hit 250. That's what
250,000
by like maybe like 2027 around there. And then that means if it misses that forecast, 210, 240, you know, so, you know, if you don't really need that money.
I tend to aim for like the really low $1, $2, $5 stocks. It's just way easier to be like, oh, it went down a few percentage. Oh, it's a few cents. It's not that bad. But like having a stock or two of like Bitcoin that's like 50 grand, like, I don't know. I probably have ulcers or something. That just creates so much stress. But actually, speaking of ulcer-inducing stuff, I saw The Big Short. That film. Have you seen it before?
Yeah.
That actually was an unintentional comedy, yet also an unintentional like horror film, because it legit terrified me. I immediately texted my friends like, I just saw The Big Short. I am like, this movie terrifies me, like complete, because it actually happened.
Yeah, definitely.
And it didn't happen that long ago. I was in college.
Yeah, it's like you know, like when like The Departed. You know how they take like real life events and, you know, change it up a little bit, like, so you know what happened, but it's, you know, an account. It's kind of that's what they kind of do. They took the real life events and then just made like some characters in there.
I mean, for me, like the thing like mafia movies, stuff like that terrify me, because it's like the one that Johnny Depp played,
Black Mass.
Yeah, the Whitey Bulger, like that movie, like that terrifies me, because that guy just got caught like maybe like 5 years ago, if that. That stuff just I'm terrified of. But there's the fact that The Big Short happened, the events happened around 2007, 2008, and the movie came out in 2015. But when I saw it, I was like, what like this actually happens? Like, really? And I texted my friend and he's like, oh yeah, I got a lot of money doing that. I'm like, you knew? And he was like maybe in his like early 20s, or actually late 20s, and he said he bet against the housing market and he got some money out of it, you know.
That's good. Yeah, it puts, you know, you could put, that's how, once you get into the stock market, you eventually start learning about options. Puts are like when you bet something to go down in price. Yeah. Calls are when you're betting it goes up, and then that starts your journey into like the second level of stock market.
Of hell, like just
yeah. Then you get into like 3-leg options, where it's you put like 2 calls in a put, or you sell 1 call and buy.
It's for gambling. that's what it is, guys. You're gambling.
Yeah, the better you get at gambling, you could cover both like bases. Like if it goes up or goes down,
like
you make money.
Who decided that this was okay? I mean, you probably don't know the answer to this, but like,
I mean,
this is more hyperbolic or like rhetorical question. But like, I don't like. So it's just a bunch of people that got, you know what? Let's start messing with other people's money and start gambling on like. But then the issue is that when you have puts or calls, or a put, like, which is I think what's happened with AMC, is like you kind of artificially bring a business down.
Well, yeah, that is the ethical thing, but at the same time, was AMC already down though?
Yeah, or was already kind of bankrupt. But
sometimes they benefit off of it because if they get a lot of activity, like GameStop, the GameStop was really done for, and then it got that people like search out those types of companies to really bring it down, you know? Yeah. But they were already, you know, shutting down stores and things like that. That's why they got picked for that. But then they brought them back to life.
And then like people are like, wait, you can't just do that. I like GameStop. I mean, that's how I got into AMC, is because we're kind of doing a bit of a callback, but it's because I just like watching movies. And then I got into like, oh, let me start investing in AMC because I like AMC. I've been going since I was a kid. And then the whole ape thing occurred, and people start asking me, are you an ape? I'm like, what is it? like are we all apes? Like
Yeah.
like no, like the AMC ape. I'm like, I don't get it. And now I get it. I was like, oh, all right, I guess maybe, sure, why not?
Yeah.
Like, I'm just looking forward to it. Hopefully going up. We shall see. But at the end of the day, the money that I have in AMC, like I kind of decided it's not mine anymore. It's just out there in the ether. So if it goes to zero, it's like, all right, I already gave it away anyway. So if it goes up, great. But for me, my advice, which is terrible advice, but my advice is if you're going to the stock market or doing shares, you kind of have to sort of pretend that that money isn't even yours anymore, because then you start getting like, then you can't sleep anymore. You just,
that's a good way to look at it. The long-term holder always outperforms. I don't want to say always, but on average,
tends to, yeah.
Outperforms the person who's trying to time the market and sell and buy at the best times. So that's a good, especially with cryptocurrency. That's the best strategy for sure.
Go short or long?
No, just invest your money in stuff you believe in, and then just don't touch it.
Set it and forget it.
Yeah. And speaking like alongside the cryptocurrency route, because we're talking about like cryptocurrency, blockchain. I just recently got a VR headset, which I was telling you.
Yeah, you told me about that.
About. Yeah.
How did that go?
It's great.
Did you throw your controller at the TV or kick your dog or something?
I wasn't playing any games. The reason why I got it was because I was watching these YouTube videos of this guy, and basically he was telling stories in the VR chat, but he was like dressed up in a costume, like it's they call it a skin, like you can pick your skin, who you're gonna be in the not the metaverse, I think they call it multiverse in the VR, but so I'm like, I want to use that program, VR chat, right? And it's basically just like a live world chat room, and you can walk around. But anyway, they were clipping videos of them talking for YouTube. So it was almost like, how we're doing this right now?
Yeah, but like it's our skins.
Yeah,
instead.
You could be home on your headset, and then we can have someone in the multiverse looking at us.
Right.
And we could record the show in the multiverse, and then I can edit that. You know what I mean? So, and then it was cool because they had like different backgrounds, like they were in different worlds that like don't really exist, like things that look different. So I'm like, you know what? I want to start dabbling in that a little bit for possibly my other podcast, since I'm doing it on Zoom, so I'm like, I don't really like the whole like, 2 Zoom calls look, so I'm like,
yeah, it looks really bizarre, and sometimes it's a bit of a delay. Like, hey, what's up? Hi, can you hear me? Hey, what's up? Yeah, hi. Can you hear? Like, it's like this weird. It takes them like 5 minutes before they realize, oh, okay, we're actually talking to each other.
Yeah, and then this way, I don't know. I just feel like it's almost like being live on a set.
Okay.
But just not in person, you know what I mean? Like, and so I was just want to experiment with that, and but it was cool. It was definitely like a crazy experience. Like I've done some of those VR things in the past, like they had like games that you would play, like arcades and stuff like that. But it's really intense. There's a lot, and not too many people are into it yet. But it's coming pretty fast.
This seems interesting.
Yeah, because I have the mining computer, which has like the 4 GPUs. My main mining rig, and I'm like, duh, I can use that for VR, because that's what you need. You need like a high quality gaming computer.
What do you mean by mining? What do you mean by that? For those
cryptocurrency mining, yeah.
Okay.
I do have a mining rig. I have 2 actually, but one is more of like the meat and potatoes.
Because someone from Iowa could be like, mining? That I don't know where they have mining. I guess Idaho or something.
Yeah,
so it's like mining in the context of crypto.
Yeah, I get Bitcoin when I mine, so that's what I've been doing with the GPUs. But yeah, so then I'm like, I could plug this headset right into that GPU, and it's optimized to do the virtual reality, and it's amazing. It's like, even on your computer, there's like a desktop style where like you have like, it's almost like a futuristic like house type of thing. Okay. But it's literally your computer, like you're inside of your computer, and like the different walls have like your desktop here.
Okay.
And you can walk up to it and like do open folders in your computer, and
that's interesting. So it's like literally your desktop, but in the round,
in a living space, like in a virtual living space. Yeah, it's pretty intense.
Aren't you like scared you might get stuck in there
No.
or something.
I was scared I was gonna get like people say that like once they use it for hours, like I mean maybe not hours, but like 1 or 2 hours, like they'll get dizzy and throw up. Like there's like some kind of brain effect,
Like
where
vertigo?
Your brain knows you're not really where you
Anywhere.
are, like what you're seeing.
Yeah, that might not be good for me because I get vertigo. Like for me, planes and trains. If I ever when I travel, I go to sleep because after a few movements here and there, yeah, I'm not a pleasant person to be around. But I mean, I might even try it. But yeah, that's definitely a concern of mine because I get pretty dizzy when it comes to that kind of stuff. But when it comes to like roller coasters, I don't get it, which is really odd. I guess it's because it's the fast. I'm not doing it for an hour. You know.
Yeah, it didn't. I didn't have any effect like that. But the cool thing is, like, you know how people, like, let's say day traders, they have like 4 monitors.
Yeah.
Things like that.
Like literally like 3, almost not like 180 sometimes. It's just completely round.
Yeah, in that living space in the Microsoft Mixed Reality, you have this like, it's called the Skyloft. I just remembered it, I think, and it's like this whole like futuristic building that you live in, but then it's like behind you is just like this huge like Manhattan skyline. It's pretty intense. But there's like huge walls in the living room where you could put like basically like big windows, like charts, and you could almost have like, it looks like you're standing in front of 10 like 70-inch flat screens. So you know what I mean? Like instead of having a setup in real life where you have 4 screens,
right,
you could just plug into there and you can have as many screens as you want. And it looks like the size of like a huge
and
house,
because
you
you
know?
have your eyes are completely covered.
Yeah.
There's no. But do you ever forget that you're in your home?
Well,
Do you ever like get lost? Kind of like, oh wait, yeah, my actual body is actually like here in New Jersey. Or do you ever get lost in the sauce or something?
no, not really. No.
Okay.
But you know, you can't see anything. So there's some that have like some visibility, which is sometimes better. But
Oh, like their periphery, you can kind of see like your living space that you're actually physically in.
But it
Okay.
also takes away from the
experience.
actual.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You feel like you're looking at a screen, not.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but I guess until you do it, you don't really get the whole thing because it's almost like a 360 photo. Like you can look around in it, you know, like on your phone, how you can do that.
Yeah.
But like you're inside of it. It's kind of weird to say, but you know, like it's like you're inside of the 360 photo.
I can guarantee you that porn is already like like it's the first thing that what people would do is
What?
how can I use porn?
It's funny you
in this
mentioned
context?
that. I was debating if I was gonna touch on that subject.
Like, oh,
But when I told my friend that I got the VR headset, the first thing he said to me, he's like, "Oh, because VR, because of porn."
Yeah.
And I was like, and I felt like an innocent child in the moment. I was like, I'd never even thought of that.
Like-
I was like, wait, what? I was getting it over here to do VR chat.
I mean, you've seen that video of the I don't know what's that name? What's that game that was super big for like 15 years?
Halo?
No.
Zelda?
No, it's like when you pretty much the videos of this orc guy, and he said the internet's for porn.
Oh,
That
I thought you
song.
bet it was a game.
It is a game,
Oh, okay.
but they use like the skins to act out this song called "The Internet's for Porn."
Oh, no, I've never seen that.
I forget. Sadly, War something World
of Warcraft.
World of Warcraft.
Right?
There you go.
Yeah.
Anyway, some person got the skins of those characters, and they're singing a song called "The Internet's for Porn."
Okay.
But I did notice that like usually the first industry to like really be inventive, and this is not a knock on porn, is the porn industry. They're the first to be like, hey, that's new, let's just jump right into it.
Yeah.
You know, which is like admirable, but I mean, I don't want to judge it because it's probably was it? I think the second oldest profession is like prostitution. I think the first is like medicine man or something like that. But I mean, it's kind of interesting though. But I'm sure like wherever you see like the leading or this new space to actually interact with, and usually the porn industry is sort of like the first to try it.
Yeah, try it. They have.
And this is just, I think I'm just kind of assuming, this is like all assumption. I'm assuming porn is the first industry to try it out. But, I mean, don't they have like suits now? Don't they have like these VR suits where like it's haptic, where it's like it moves and such?
I think
they have
that's going on in like Asia, like the Asian continents, which they are, I think, a little more ahead on that kind of stuff.
I think they're completely okay. Like, yeah, let's just go straight into wearing suits. And actually, I have seen this sort of treadmill thing where it was almost like this treadmill in the round that's almost like a bowl. And I saw guys are playing this like first-person shooter, and you can actually run on it. And it has like a ring around them, like a physical ring. So they can only lean as far, because if it didn't have that protection, you would just fall off of it.
Yeah.
But what game they were playing, I wasn't really sure, but it was a first-person shooter. It was like maybe like a 10 or 15-second video on like Instagram. It looked pretty interesting, but I don't know, stuff like that scares me. I'm a bit of a pansy when it comes to like the technology. I'm like, yeah, but don't you just want to play with your friends? Like, why don't you just play tag in real life? But that's just me being weirdly nostalgic.
Yeah. I think what I've tested out so far, I like the remotes. I don't like things where you have to move around. I feel like that's a little dangerous. I mean, unless you have a really big open space in your living room. But even when I was sitting, like, I found myself like hitting my desk with the remote. You know what I mean? Like moving my hand and just like hitting the desk, and I'm like, oh shit, I'm right in front of my desk. But yeah, I prefer moving with the joysticks and just seeing the visual experience for now. But I'm sure there's some games that are cool that you can like there's
walk
like
around
bar fight game that I heard about. It's like
a bar fight game?
Yeah, like you just get into bar fights in the game, and like you literally have to fight.
I mean, that's actually might be good for like some people that need to get some anger out. Like there is one in Rockaway, I believe, where you can actually it's just this big warehouse space that just has like TVs and chairs and whatever, and you can just wail at them and destroy things.
Oh yeah, you could smash stuff, right?
Yeah. You can just smash stuff. I mean,
plates.
I don't get it, but if that helps you get through your day and not be violent towards other people, then break TVs. I don't know.
Yeah, I was watching a show where these people were like going through a rough patch, and they went there and they squashed their beef and stuff
by smashing just chairs and stuff.
Yeah, like they were fighting with each other, and then they went there and they got some stress off their back.
Is this in a show?
Yeah, it was on a TV show. Yeah, I've seen it. Yeah.
But there's actually a few.
But it wasn't like a show where like they were scripted. I'm saying it was like a reality TV show. Like,
okay.
Yeah, like they really went there in real life.
I always felt so, I guess you can say, torn by reality TV shows. I'll admit they are entertaining, but it does give people a false sense of like something's always happening in your life, or something should always be happening in your life. This is always a false sense of like, because when you're watching a TV show or a reality TV show, like there's always a script, or not a script and like they wrote everything out, but there's always like an event happening in a TV show. But I think if you're a kid now watching reality TV shows all the time, you might have the assumption like, wait, my life isn't like this. My life is actually kind of boring. Things like this aren't happening all the time. Maybe like once a month we might do something, but like TVs, I think, provide that false sense of like, I guess like about reality. Like actually, this is like 3 days but condensed into like 30 minutes or 24 minutes or however long it is. But that's always my worry. I'm the skeptic type of person. Everything I kind of look at is side-eyed. I kind of like,
Gotcha.
What's wrong with that? I'm always looking at it. I mean, I am positive, but I tend to view things glass half full sometimes when it comes to like stuff. Like for me, when you're talking about your VR experience, I'm like, how can that go bad? I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, it could go bad.
Or I should view it more, how can it go good, and maybe get into like investing in that in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah, definitely. I am invested in Meta and Sand. So that's,
Sand?
Yeah, Sand is like the virtual real estate sandbox.
I'm not familiar.
Yeah, maybe we talk about this in another
Yeah.
episode. But yeah, I mean, virtual real estate.
Sand,
I own
virtual
some
real estate.
properties.
I should write that down.
Yeah, Sandbox and Upland or two if you want to check them out.
Sandbox. Okay.
And I think one more thing we could touch on since we're doing the current events. And
like
I guess
a catch up kind of thing.
to close it out. Bob Saget.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Bummed out. That bummed me out hard. That actually hurt me, but that really almost like Anthony Bourdain. It was like, oh wait, this staple, this person in my not literal life, but because Anthony, I know talking about Zaga, but Anthony Bourdain like encompassed like my 20s and I guess my 20s and early 30s. It's like he was like the guy, like that's the dude, you kind of looked up to him because he was so imperfect and so like a better word, broken and he was very open about that. And yeah, Bob Saget, dang Tanner, like.
Yeah.
And I read an article, whether it could be right or wrong, I'm not really sure, but there was nothing wrong with him. Like there was no drugs, no nothing. I think he got a concussion or bumped his head, and then he fell asleep.
Yeah, they said that's what the latest report.
Like he just got struck in the head and went to sleep, and that's that.
He could have hit his head when he like laid down, like.
Yeah, it could have been anything, but yeah, it really. I was like, that's abrupt, and I think it was 64.
Yeah,
and which is not young, but it's not old either. It's still. I don't know. The older I get, when I look at someone in their 40s, I'm like, they're young, or even 60s. Is like that's not, that's a an odd age to pass away on, but. And also how he passed away is kind of like really like that's.
Yeah, it's crazy to think we're
Yeah.
halfway to like 70 though,
Yeah, look at that. my age times 2 is definitely past 60, almost 70. Yeah.
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 Yep.
Math.
Yeah, man. It I wish I don't know if he did this, so I might be speaking out of turn, but I wish there was him, I guess a podcast or maybe a special commentary of him watching all the Full House episodes.
That would
and
have been interesting.
saying what he was really thinking, because he's a completely different person than the actual actor he portrayed. So I mean that would have been cool to get, but
what I'm happy about with Bob Saget, which there's a lot of, and I don't think it's happening just to me. I'm sure it happened to other people where. There's people that you really admire, and then you find out later their past was kind of sketch, or they did some sketchy behavior, or questionable behavior, whether it be malicious or not. That I'm happy that hasn't or never happened to Bob Saget from my recollection. It was a big deal back in the day that. His character, Danny Tanner, and his stand-up comedy was completely different, very, very different. Or what? But that was the norm. So there's been a bunch of people in the past where I'm like, oh, I'm a huge fan of person X, whatever it is, and then later on I find out, oh, wait, what? They're for me, is Bill Cosby. That's the first person I grew up. The first stand-up special I watched was Bill Cosby's stand-up, where he's not even standing up; he's sitting down. Way back when I was a kid, and I found it hilarious, and then looking back I'm like, wait, what? This guy,
yeah.
Bill, what was his character in the Cosby Show? Phil Huxtable. Mr. Huxtable, Dr. Huxtable. Yeah, but anyway, Bob Saget, R.I.P. I don't know, it's kind of. That's a really bum way to end the podcast, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, just had to. I didn't want to fail to mention it.
Oh yeah, correct.
So, yeah, that's. But yeah, hopefully,
I think the positive out of that is, unlike Virgil Abloh, who passed away way back in November, who was 42, I think. Like I do think what he can be happy, not I guess you could say happy, but or like the silver lining is that Bob Saget had a pretty much complete or very fulfilling career. You know, like similar to like Alex Trebek. Like there's nothing to. If I had Bob Saget's career, I wouldn't be sad about it. You know.
Yeah,
you know,
and that night before he died too, he had like a really long 2-hour comedy set.
Yeah, he had a huge set,
which he posted that like he didn't even realize he had done 2 hours, and he was like back in love with stand-up comedy, and he was like in a really good place and happy, you know.
Yeah, he's also he was pro AMC, that too.
Nice.
I remember that. He actually put a video out like weeks before.
He was an ape.
Yeah, he's like, oh, these crazy AMC apes, you keep doing your thing. So that's a good thing. That just popped into my head.
Yeah, well, shout out, you know, rest in peace, Bob Saget. Thanks for the laughs. I love saying that, by the way, side note, because there's a funny story. What time I met Michael Cera, right? Because I used to be a part of this group that would donate, and it's called Rooftop Films NYC.
Okay.
And we'd donate to the charity, and they'd like fund independent films, but in turn what you'd get as a membership is they'd throw a bunch of rooftop films in the summer, and you'd get like a season pass, and you can go and you could get like tiers, you know, like 2 tickets for every show that you request, 4 tickets. So I would donate, and I went for years, and one year we went to see this I forgot the name of the movie, but it was like some like magic cactus that you could like, I guess, use it to trip, you know, you can make it into juice or something. But anyway, the plot escapes me, but it was funny. It was a funny movie, and we went with some friends, and we were with this girl, and she goes, and we all just panicked because he just out of nowhere, like they were after parties, so you'd get to meet the people in Q&A, and he was there, and you know, sometimes you see like famous people, and they're like different from what you envision. Yeah. And he's like kind of a tall dude, so it was kind of like, you know, you're kind of like Michael Cera right there. And he was surrounded by like what looked like, I don't know, like imagine if like there was like an entourage for Prince.
Right.
But instead of Prince, it was Michael Cera. You know, it was like a bunch of like Chicago, like darker dudes with like leather, and we're like, then Michael Cera, and we're like, all right, this is and then he walks past us, and we're like, yo, he's right there. And the girl turns around, and she's like, hey, thanks for the laughs. And then just shakes his hand, and he just shakes her hand, and then when she walks away, she's just like, thanks for the laughs. That's what I said. Like, you know.
Yeah. I might steal that. Thanks for the laughs.
Yeah, but it was so funny that she said that, like, completely ripped on herself right after, you know.
I mean, it's better than me telling Adrian Brody that he's Adrian Brody.
You met Adrian Brody?
Yeah, I'll mention. I'll finish that story in the next podcast. Yeah, I met Adrian Brody, and my question was, "You're Adrian Brody?" And he looked at me like, "Yeah."
That's funny you mentioned Adrian Brody, because I asked my friend last night if he ever watched The Jacket. Did you ever see that? No. He was in that. It was really good. It was a Soderbergh movie, and Soderbergh just released that movie Kimmy with Zoe Kravitz.
Yeah.
And 5 Degrees of Kevin Bacon, you know, with Adrian Brody. But all right.
And Zoe Kravitz is the daughter of Lisa Bonet, played in The Cosby Show.
Oh, look at that. We just tied it up, and that's it. I think that's the best way to end the episode. Thanks for showing up. Yeah. Thanks for showing up for number 26. We're back, and we're not going away. My name is Jose Rodriguez, and my co-host
David Diokendo.
Please subscribe, like, and thank you so much for checking us out. We'll see you on the next episode.
Bye-bye.